Dinar shift for anyone who has been attentively following the intricate and evolving financial narrative of Iraq. This moment represents what many analysts are describing as a profound historical inflection point. We are witnessing not merely a procedural change, but a strategically executed shift in the foundation of the nation's economic structure, a development that carries significant weight for the future of the Iraqi dinar. This is not the type of speculative chatter that frequently circulates. This is a tangible, independently verified milestone that is now resonating through international financial markets and regulatory bodies. The recent official actions by the Central Bank of Iraq are so meticulously timed and targeted that they signal an era of unprecedented financial modernization is now truly underway. To grasp the full gravity of this update, we must consider the culmination of years of quiet, painstaking work that has positioned Iraq on the cusp of its most significant financial reform initiative in decades, an initiative that could fundamentally influence global confidence and the sovereign value of its national currency. The major news gripping the financial community focuses on the Central Bank of Iraq's CBI successful attainment of the International Organization for Standardization's ISO 37001 Heli 16 certification. This particular standard is a highly respected, globally recognized approval that confirms the bank has not just adopted but has fully implemented stringent anti-bribery, anti-corruption, and transparency management systems. For those outside the world of high finance, this might sound like a minor technicality, yet its real-world impact is immense and fundamentally transformative. The ISO 37001 certification acts as an objective external validation of the CBI's ethical infrastructure, confirming that its operations now align with the rigorous compliance expectations of the world's leading financial institutions and markets. This certification is by no means an easy achievement. It is a difficult and demanding process. It cannot be secured with mere promises or statements of intent. The process requires months and often years of deep institutional restructuring, significant technological upgrades, exhaustive external auditing, and demonstrable compliance across every level of the organization. The fact that the Central Bank of Iraq has successfully navigated this complex path and been certified means that it has proven, beyond a doubt, its commitment to operating with the same level of integrity, accountability, and transparency expected from the most established and trusted global banking systems. This is the precise type of foundational reassurance that global regulators, major international investors, and correspondent banks actively seek before granting a nation full and unfettered access to the international financial ecosystem. The timing of this achievement could scarcely be more crucial. To appreciate the true magnitude of this milestone, we must remember the historical context that Iraq has faced for well over a decade. For years, the nation struggled against significant global barriers in banking and investment, largely due to systemic inconsistencies, persistent challenges with corruption, deeply entrenched and often outdated banking procedures, and a notable lack of comprehensive digital financial infrastructure. These long-standing issues created a climate of uncertainty, causing many significant international institutions and foreign investors to adopt a cautious, hands-off approach to direct financial engagement with the country. However, the present landscape is dramatically different, a testament to deliberate policy and institutional fortitude. The successful acquisition of the ISO 37001 certification serves as a powerful and unmistakable signal that Iraq has diligently executed a complete rebuild of its core financial foundation. It confirms that the central bank has profoundly strengthened its institutional integrity and successfully aligned its operational protocols with modern international expectations. This is more than just a bureaucratic award. It is a global declaration that clearly states that Iraq's financial doors are now open, its systems are robust, and it is fully prepared and capable of transitioning into the next critical phase of comprehensive financial modernization. The historical distrust is now actively being replaced by a globally recognized standard of trustworthiness. Many observers tend to overlook just how impactful a specialized, internationally recognized compliance certification truly is, but in reality, it changes the fundamental calculus for global engagement. It immediately transforms the world's perception of the nation, dramatically elevates the level of trust placed in its institutions, exponentially increases its potential for attracting long-term foreign investment, and, critically, enhances the nation's systemic ability to manage and stabilize its national currency. A reliable, internationally compliant financial system is the essential prerequisite for all major economic reform, and this step effectively lays that critical groundwork, shifting the narrative from one of past challenges to one of future potential and security. What makes this development particularly compelling is that this certification was not a sudden, bolt-from-the-blue event. The Central Bank of Iraq has been engaged in a sustained, low-profile campaign of internal preparation, working tirelessly behind the scenes to meet these rigorous standards. This preparation involved a massive overhaul of internal systems, the complete digitization of records, modernization of all transaction methods, and the creation of secure, internationally acceptable financial pathways that strictly adhere to global banking expectations. This comprehensive internal cleanup and modernization effort has been a strategic process, not a rushed reaction. The proactive steps taken by the CBI include the establishment of robust digital payment networks, significant upgrades to cross-border settlement capabilities, the enforcement of far stricter compliance rules, and the continuous enhancement of financial monitoring and reporting methods. Now, with all of these deep internal infrastructural upgrades having been formally recognized and validated on a global stage, Iraq is officially positioned for the kind of profound economic and monetary shift that has been anticipated and patiently awaited by countless observers. A national currency adjustment, or any major financial reform for that matter, is functionally impossible without first proving that the nation's core financial mechanism is demonstrably clean, transparent, and trusted by the international community. This ISO certification provides that undeniable proof. This certified compliance takes on even greater significance because it arrives concurrently with Iraq's vigorous efforts toward full integration into the global banking structure. The country has recently intensified its connections to critical international financial networks, substantially improved its digital transaction systems for both its citizens and commercial enterprises, and expanded its collaborative partnerships with major global trading nations. All of these deliberate maneuvers are clearly pointing towards one overarching and ultimate objective: complete financial integration and interoperability. However, such full integration is simply not achievable without a demonstrably credible, inherently stable, and internationally recognized currency structure in place. This is precisely why a substantial number of financial observers strongly believe that this hard-won ISO certification may be the crucial and long-awaited final green light the country needed before it can confidently activate its deeper and more complex financial reforms. Joining the highly sophisticated global system is utterly incompatible with maintaining outdated, non-compliant processes, inconsistent operational standards, or internal systemic corruption risks. By securing this globally approved anti-bribery management system, Iraq has fundamentally altered this calculus, creating a secure and transparent environment that is required for the next phase of its financial evolution. The old barriers to entry are systematically being dismantled and replaced with globally accepted best practices. When financial analysts characterize this moment as a decisive green light, they are speaking with a profound understanding of the delicate requirements of monetary reform. A nation can only responsibly advance with major monetary policy changes, be they revaluation, redenomination, or broader systemic restructuring, once it has convincingly demonstrated full compliance with international standards. Monetary reforms are inherently sensitive operations. They demand unquestionable confidence, rock-solid stability, and absolute legitimacy to succeed and maintain public trust. The ISO certification provides this exact foundation. It communicates to the entire global community that Iraq is not only structurally stable, but is also fully prepared to participate actively in global markets, utilizing secure, modern, and internationally verified corruption-free systems. This strategic achievement is exactly why so many prominent financial experts are hailing this as a monumental milestone, one that clearly indicates Iraq is now transitioning into a bold, new era of serious economic modernization. Based on the deliberate, measured, and highly public moves made by the country's financial leadership, all the necessary elements appear to be strategically aligning for a much larger, foundational economic transformation that is expected to unfold over the short to medium term. A crucial supplementary layer to this evolving story is the positive response from influential global investors and powerful regional financial institutions. Since the initial news of the certification was released, senior analysts across multiple continents have begun to extensively discuss Iraq's visibly and rapidly improving financial infrastructure. Many of these commentators are emphasizing that Iraq has finally achieved a critical operational threshold where substantial international partnerships, significant flows of foreign direct investment, and large-scale cross-border financial projects can now be executed with a renewed level of confidence and minimal systemic risk. This type of profound global recognition and systemic trust was simply unimaginable just a few short years ago, but it is now a verifiable reality. When global trust increases in this manner, the ripple effect leads to a multiplication of economic opportunities. More major international businesses begin to actively explore and commit to projects within Iraq. A greater number of foreign banks start to forge crucial correspondent partnerships, and a wider array of significant trade agreements becomes feasible. Collectively, this heightened engagement directly contributes to a stronger, more resilient national currency stability. It cultivates the perfect, fertile environment necessary for the long-term, structural economic restructuring that has been the explicit goal of Iraq's financial planners for some time. One of the most immediate and tangible areas where this certification's impact is felt is on Iraq's confirmed ongoing currency reform project. Not long ago, senior Iraqi officials publicly confirmed that the country was actively preparing for a significant currency adjustment involving the introduction of lower denomination notes and a comprehensive restructuring of the entire monetary system. Reforms of this fundamental nature require exceedingly strict levels of international compliance and operational due diligence. They must be supported by impregnable security systems, fully transparent policies, and continuously updated financial controls and auditing. The ISO 37001 CERN presents the official, external validation of this internal foundational work. It clearly demonstrates that the necessary core foundations required for a future currency reform are now firmly and reliably in place. While this achievement does not guarantee an immediate, abrupt change in the currency's rate tomorrow, it is an unequivocal indicator that Iraq has successfully cleared one of the single biggest operational hurdles that previously blocked its path to major reform. The complex pieces of the monetary puzzle are now visibly starting to lock into their final positions, moving the reform process out of the realm of speculation and into the world of verifiable, strategic execution. As Iraq continues its committed trajectory toward financial modernization, we should logically expect to see a cascade of further public updates and policy announcements in the coming weeks and months. These anticipated developments will likely include the rollout of new, streamlined banking policies, the expansion of digital wallet systems to a wider population, a deeper integration with vast international trade and commerce networks, and the introduction of additional targeted financial reforms. The Central Bank of Iraq may also strategically launch comprehensive public education campaigns aimed at thoroughly explaining changes in core banking procedures, currency usage protocols, or the widespread adoption of new digital payment systems. These are the precise, deliberate actions that central banks globally undertake when preparing their respective citizenries for imminent and significant shifts in their national financial systems. If the frequency and scope of these types of announcements and infrastructural moves begin to increase, they will serve as a very strong, consistent indicator that Iraq is decisively entering the final, high-stakes stages of its multi-year financial reform cycle. For everyone closely watching this story unfold, this emerging period will be the moment where being acutely and reliably informed transitions from a casual interest to an absolute necessity for understanding the next steps. Another critical detail that warrants close attention is the evolving nature of Iraq's formal relationship with key international bodies such as the International Monetary Funds (IMF) and the Bank for International Settlements (BIST). Now that the country has achieved this high-level ISO certification, it significantly strengthens its official standing and chance of being internationally recognized for the unimpeachable accuracy of its data, its commitment to transparency, and its sustained institutional compliance. This means that Iraq's reported financial statistics are likely to gain broader and more immediate acceptance across the global economic landscape. Once Iraq's core financial data is accepted with this increased authority and trust, the Iraqi dinar itself becomes much easier and more palatable to work with on a comprehensive international scale. Global banks overwhelmingly prefer reliable, validated data, international investors prioritize stable, secure systems, and major countries seek partners they can confidently trust. The ISO certification helps to propel Iraq squarely into this preferred category of trusted global financial partners, making its currency an increasingly appealing asset for full future participation in global trade and finance. This seemingly behind-the-scenes institutional shift, while not flashy, is incredibly potent in decisively shaping the nation's long-term economic destiny and global position. So, what is the clear, consolidated main takeaway from this complex series of events for the Iraqi dinar and those who follow its journey? The undeniable conclusion is that Iraq is now firmly on a validated and correct financial path. The systems are structurally sound and continuously improving. The necessary international compliance is definitively in place. The global recognition of this hard work is steadily growing, and the international trust required for major reform is actively being built. None of these individual points guarantee an instantaneous, overnight change in the exchange rate, but they unequivocally demonstrate that Iraq is meticulously preparing the essential groundwork for a major financial and monetary transformation that has been years in the making. If the country remains resolute and continues to execute its plan in this clear, compliant, and strategic direction, then a revaluation, redenomination, or currency restructuring becomes increasingly plausible. This potential shift would occur not as an unverified rumor or a piece of market speculation, but as a legitimate, strategic financial step that is fully supported and necessitated by globally recognized compliance and operational readiness. Big systemic changes in national finance simply do not occur abruptly. They happen slowly, methodically, and with extreme strategic precision. Right now, Iraq is clearly and successfully checking off every single one of the required international and operational boxes. Furthermore, this certification acts as a powerful catalyst for strengthening national economic confidence within Iraq itself. For many years, ordinary citizens have struggled with the consequences of instability, persistent inflation, and a lingering atmosphere of mistrust in the domestic financial system. However, when the Central Bank of Iraq secures such definitive, high-level international recognition for its integrity and operational standards, it inevitably begins a process of rebuilding deep-seated faith in both the national currency and the underlying financial institutions. This renewed domestic confidence is absolutely essential. It acts as a crucial underpinning, strengthening personal savings habits, encouraging local entrepreneurial investment, and fostering the conditions for long-term, organic economic stability. A truly robust financial system requires the complementary strength of both international trust and domestic public faith. This strategic move by the CBI has undeniably enhanced both sides of that critical equation. This is why people are accurately calling this an undeniable turning point. It is not just about external global approval, but about Iraq stepping into a new era where its own people, its domestic and foreign investors, and the entire world can finally see a clear, structured, and financially responsible path forward for the nation. As Iraq continues the process of fundamentally upgrading and modernizing its entire banking infrastructure, we are likely to see a measurable increase in new international trade partnerships, the initiation of major cross-border commercial projects, and a broader, more significant financial expansion. These burgeoning opportunities naturally draw more foreign capital and economic activity in the nation, which directly helps to stabilize the domestic market and, critically, increases the fundamental demand for the Iraqi dinar in the global marketplace. As this structural demand grows and is supported by institutional compliance, so too does the currency's potential to adjust its inherent value and utility. Once again, while significant change takes time, everything begins with these foundational and institutional steps, and Iraq has just completed one of the largest and most complex ones. The ISO 37001 certification functions almost like a universal key that unlocks entirely new levels of global financial engagement and interoperability. For any country that is actively preparing for major, transformative currency changes, the timing of this operational and compliance achievement is not just important, it is utterly pivotal. It provides the necessary legitimacy to move forward without major international oversight concerns. Another key area that requires vigilant observation is the way regional banks across the Middle East and beyond interact with Iraq over the next few months. The region has been rapidly accelerating its move toward digital economy adoption, cross-border trade optimization, and deeper financial cooperation. Now that Iraq has demonstrably upgraded its internal systems and officially secured this high-level global certification, surrounding regional countries are expected to begin forming much stronger, more confident financial and trade connections with Baghdad. These rapidly strengthening partnerships will significantly accelerate Iraq's path to achieving full, comprehensive financial integration. Once this goal of full integration is realized, Iraq's national currency automatically becomes more stable, enjoys increased usability in foreign transactions, and achieves a greater measure of international respect and acceptance. This compliant, stable, and respected environment is the precise set of conditions that a country must successfully establish before it can responsibly and successfully launch a major, foundational currency shift. All of these deliberate, interlocking moves, from deep digital upgrades to enhanced compliance improvements to the ultimate securing of this global certification, paint a single cohesive and compelling picture of Iraq's overarching national economic plan. The Iraqi leadership is clearly striving for a truly modern, interconnected, and globally accessible economy. They are seeking structural independence from outdated, inefficient legacy systems and are actively working to construct a financial future that is capable of supporting decades of sustained ethical growth. Every verifiable step they have taken in recent years suggests they are meticulously building the necessary framework towards something much larger, something profoundly transformative for the nation. And now that the central bank has officially received this critical, undeniable stamp of global recognition, that highly anticipated transformation feels structurally closer than ever before. The main actionable takeaway for our viewers is this: Iraq has just achieved a massive and verifiable leap forward in its financial credibility. They have definitively strengthened their institutional standing, earned tangible international trust from the financial community, and strategically positioned themselves for the next, highly critical phase of complex economic reform. For absolutely anyone who has been closely following the Dinar story, this achievement is one of the strongest, most concrete indicators of serious, fundamental progress we have yet witnessed. It is a milestone that communicates to the world that Iraq is serious, thoroughly prepared, and moving with clear, unambiguous intention. This ISO certification is not merely a technical document, it is a clear institutional signal. It signals that the fundamental outlook for Iraq's financial future is changing, it signals that they are operationally ready for the global economic stage, and it signals that the long-awaited, comprehensive financial shift may now be decisively approaching. If you are tracking the developments of the Iraqi dinar, you must remain hyper-alert for new, official central bank announcements. Watch for new banking policies, the introduction of new financial tools, and clear, structured reform steps. Every single major, historic economic shift begins with an institutional confirmation of readiness, and Iraq has just received one of the biggest confirmations possible. The foundational groundwork has been successfully completed, and we are now entering the phase where the major possibilities for their currency and economy become very real.